Hit the throttle, feel the cheese. Two wheels lift, grip tight, cut the breeze.
Ladies and gentlemen, karibu sana to yet another episode of Cat on Wheels podcast. I'm your host kama kawaida Cat, and we are at the Black Rose Chendro. Black Rose Chendro is your one-stop place for motorcycle needs, carpentry, DIYs. Recently he was doing some furniture work. I don't know. Yeah, it's just describing him can be hard. One time he's a carpenter, another time he's doing metal work, sometimes Land Rover. But anyway, feel free to stop by if at a time. Yeah, we got you covered. Today I'm with one guest by the name Odek. Odek tumekuwa tukitafutana for some time. Leo make time, but amekuja na Futsubishi. Odek, wapi bike?
Nimekuja na 4 wheels.
Which 4 wheels? Umepark wapi?
No, wewe huko tu nje huko. Unajua utaka kuingia mali kuna watu wana ride pikipiki na gari. Kwanza kwa yaya. Ataanza kukupasha. Lazima uko rada.
Mimi nishazoea, nilifanya hivyo na Subaru mpaka ikabidi
so
ameshikanisha.
But yeah, we are in between bikes now. Niliambiwa hivyo, in between bikes.
What does that mean?
We are looking.
Oh, unatafuta?
We are looking for another one.
Because ile ingine only have to let go.
Yeah. Attachment issues tuliacha nayo, so
yes. Mimi bado. Wewe labda ulianza kuride kitambo. Mimi attachment issues bado niko nayo mbaya sana when it comes to bikes. Kabla nifike hiyo
vitu za dunia, labda kitu niko attached tu ni bibi yangu na watoto wangu.
Really?
Au tu. Hizo vitu zingine
bike inaenda. But bibi hiyo
bibi tuko
boundaries.
Hapo sasa
na watoto umechora kasako na
hapo ndio.
But karibu sana, it's good to have you.
Hapa
tunaongeanga tu stories za bikes na kujua bike situations na basically two stuff kama hizo man. So karibu sana.
Asante.
First bike ilikuwa
UM DSR 230
ni car time.
Ilikuwa tu 230cc UM DSR. A very interesting bike. That was my first bike.
Hiyo ni brand gani?
UM ni inatoka kwa familia kina Renegade, so it's a
okay. Which year is this?
Bro, some years back, hata sikumbuki.
A lot of years.
But yeah, that was my first bike. That one I was a bit attached to it.
Ulikuwa unaanza?
Ndio ilikuwa kama mtoto na nilipata kodi, mtu ni kama alinibariki.
Now you get my point.
Mtu alinibariki, lakini after hiyo I realize ni sawa. It's okay.
Ni bike tu.
Ni bike tu. So naiona kuna siku nimeiona imenipita niko like nacho hii bike.
Lakini ya nyuluza recently. Yes.
Hiyo pia si mtu ako nayo anakujaga hadi kwangu.
The UM ni off-road?
Street, do both.
Oh, but si kama
nini mnyama.
Hizi mabisi. Okay, mimi sijasikia hiyo bike. It sounds like
Yeah, go to do a research on it. They were here a few years ago.
Kwani they know
Wakacha watu na manini. Nasikia wamerudi. Hiyo shida ilikuwa tu ma spares.
So wamerudi na spares.
I hope so.
Si wangeunda kwa Toyota.
I'm not so keen on them because I'm like walituacha.
Also it was a good bike.
It was a good bike, like nini. So kama umeona Renegade, it's not Renegade. Yeah, the one that looks like ni kama inaitwa cruiser. It's in your family.
Lakini asi ati walikuwa na prioritize.
Walikuwa tu na mambo mingi. Unajua vitu watu wanaleta mnakimbilia alafu wana realize tutaleta hizi vitu zote, spares nini.
But say ni too late. Look at how many bikes we have in the country.
Yeah, and now that is not even the bike someone would think about.
Hata sunaona hata hizo cross mind
say. So you know people like you mnafikiria big names. Unajua tukianza tunaanzia mali iko ile kitu umepatikana nayo.
But then UM does not even fit in kwa.
So I used to make fun and say I had the M because it was a UM. So I needed at that time I needed a K na T.
UMKT.
Iko KTM.
Hapo nilikuwa nangoja sana. Where is this one going?
Nilikuwa ni minus
Plot
U.
twist.
Nilikuwa ni minus U, alafu nilikuwa na KTM. Lakini mambo ikafanyika.
KT uko ipata.
So I've actually had a 390 KTM. I've ridden a KTM 390 which I stayed with it for a few months only. Then sold it.
Ulikach tu. Ukaachana nayo tena. Attachment hapo imeisha.
Kuna crosswind nilichapa. Hapo ndo nika make point nikasema nataka kuuza hii bike. because it was light.
But selling a bike because of crossroads?
No. I needed a heavier bike because I was just. So what happened is, so from the I went to a 600 Hornet. Okay, so the Hornet was heavier. Okay, so the things it was heavy, comfortable. Then after that, I went now to the KTM, the 390, which was a good bike, but wasn't serving me as I wanted it to serve me. So then I decided, let me just let go of it. Then I went for the BMW.
The big boys?
Yeah.
Was it intentional? Umekuwa coerced?
No, I've always admired BMW bikes.
Unajua hisi ya wote. Hata mimi nakalianga tu, that's the farthest I can.
So na kwa duma yangu iko gatu ni kukalia.
Kalia na usongesha.
The thrill of it just make me happy. Yeah. So I desired. So at that point I just made a decision and I was like, and then there's a friend of mine who was selling it and it was like, in fact it was like he blessed me with it. It was like, yoi.
Alikupea?
Alinipea. Tuseme tu nikali alinipea.
Si tuseme tu alikupea.
Ni kama alinipea.
Mwanzo ulipewa BMW.
Was a blessing. Na hiyo ni enjoy mpaka leo. Ananiambia tulimweka kwa box cause tulienda na wife yangu kaa kona ball. Wife akamwambia uzia bwana yangu hii pikipiki.
Mtoto ndiye anataka.
Mtoto ndiye anataka. Si.
Mtoto ana feel like.
So aka feel, sasa hapo utakataji, utaambiaje mtu no.
Na ako in labor.
So hata sasa next natakuja hapa kwa yaya. Lakini atupate mtoto mwingine soon. Sasa hiyo ndio ngori. Ningekuja tu hapa kama wife ako nini niambiwa yaya nataka bike ile iko.
Wewe anajua kuchapa deals. Atasema mtu yake kama.
Ndio ukuje.
Akuje nimpe bike yake. Ama mtu unaona vile sauti zao wanasemanga Mungu akileta mtoto aleta sana.
Msani yake, mtoto akikuja na yake.
Akikuja na bike yake.
But yeah, that has been my journey so far, I have loved it so far.
It's
so
good,
now,
man.
In between, but sioni nikienda mbali sana na
bike.
Hiyo roho ya nini.
It's always close.
Hata leo mpenye umenika hapa. Niko stress kidogo lakini sawa.
Kuna venye tu ukitoka hapa kuna venye
niko stress kidogo.
Unaanza connect the dots.
The dots kidogo.
I know that feeling. Unajua nasemanga once a biker, always a biker. Kuna wengine hata wananunuanga shamba and still unapata bado wanaendelea tu.
It's always yani you feel it.
Iko kwa damu.
Iko kwa damu.
Once in the blood hiyo.
Iko kwa damu. Yes toka.
Hey man, karibu sana. One of the reasons pia nilikuwa nimekuita hapa, you know, wewe ni advocate wa mental health. A lot. Hata tangu tu nikujue nilikuwa nasikia tu men let's talk. Sijui they don't talk enough kwa bar.
Hata bar watu ongea kuna loud music bro.
But I think it's not only kwa biking community. Sindio? Like you being an advocate for men's mental health. So may I ask you why is that exactly?
The reason why I do this. So a few years ago, I was not can I say a victim, but I found myself depressed. Okay, so a few years ago, where I was in that space. So because one thing led after the other, and so I always say things that made sense stopped making sense.
Things that made sense stopped making sense.
Things that gave me like an identity, zikatoka.
What do you mean?
So you see, men are big on a few things. So you're big on, like now, if you're a biker, the kind of bike you ride.
Defines who you are.
Inakupatia kifua. Okay? What you do. That's why men will always be talking about 6-figure salaries. The car. You see, you mentioned a Subaru. So those are some of the things. So the moment those things clear off, then what is left?
Meaningless, eh?
Yes. So you start thinking, then what's my purpose? Why am I even here? So work, nini. So I found myself in a season, like a weird season, and so that led to one thing after the other. Then tried committing suicide 3 times.
Really?
That was now the impact of it. Okay?
You are not a biker yet.
I was a biker. So in fact, the reason why I bought the DSR or really wanted to ride is because I knew riding would bring me closer to my death more than any other thing. And people would not ask questions.
That's your reason?
Yes.
Hey, okay. You do realize it's quite the opposite.
So the reason why I actually bought it, because I knew, if someone, mtu anaweza kugonga huko nje uanguke na udae. And people will be like, it was
You
an
talk a
accident.
clean slate.
It was an accident.
Hakuna cha sijui.
No, as in that was for me. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why I bought it, because it was the easiest way. You know, like those things, 7 or 21 ways of dying. Maybe. So for me, this was one. So got the bike.
Na hiyo ilikuwa sure bet.
Ilikuwa sure bet.
Hiyo nayo ungebet.
So every time that Nino would linger in my head, oh, can you just do this? You get. But I did not know how crazy it was, because yes, there was that feeling and everything, but I had never sat down to actually critically think about it. So it had to take one event that happened on the November month, because November, the time we're in, is basically a time that it focuses on men. So prostate cancer, mental health, hizo vitu zote.
Hizo zote, yeah.
And so someone made this, gave this opportunity to us, and was like, he organized a ride. Okay. So me, because I was bored, there was nothing I was doing in the house, so I registered for this ride. Then we go. We do the ride. We visited a few biking stores. Then went for breakfast. So I had now hearing many different dudes speak of the situations. Yes, situations in even seeing dudes break down from literally. And so me hapo niko like, I don't nasikiza kitu, but I can relate. I'm like, I'm actually here.
Sorry to cut you short. When you were going through this before you met the other men, you are not talking to anyone?
No. I was just, I had friends, okay, but I was not telling anyone about what's actually going on.
You are masking it?
Yes. So I had mastered I'd find myself as in, watu wako mahali niko nao. As in, so I did not understand those signs, okay? So until we sat down in that space is when now this thing started making sense.
When you saw the guys talking.
Someone brought in the conversation, and so later that day, because one of the things that, it has highs and lows, okay? Like when mental health, like when in that state, you have highs and lows. So the highs is sometimes you just want to be around people. Okay.
Reason?
Because you feel fulfillment in that. You want to be around people. You don't want to be home, go to your house. You like the loudness, or you can be so happy. Okay. So
the mood swings.
Yes. So at that time, I really enjoyed being, because now I loved the conversation, and then the time got that everyone had to go to their place at home. So now I'm like, hey, where am I going?
You're not feeling like going home.
Because I don't feel like going home. And here, there's nothing to do, so I went to Tao. So usually we'd hang out with my old man, my dad, in Tao, just over a cup of tea, topic two stories, so fala. So he looks at me, and then there's a t-shirt I was wearing, it was written Men Matter. Okay? So he asked me, why are you wearing this? So I started having conversation, then slowly I'm realizing, hey, man, yeah. Then, because he asked me a question, it's like, who do you talk to? Yeah, because I mean, like, so we had a and then he's like, even him, he needs to go home. So I'm like, okay, so I started looking for a few of my friends, and I'm not finding anyone. So I decided to go home. I think that was the longest night for me, because like everything dawned down on me, like the emotions, everything. So I found myself shedding tears, but I don't know why. Then the thoughts start coming in. And so I remember just texting a few of my friends and saying, my guys, Niko mwisho. If someone does not... that same night. Like if someone does not show up today, I don't know about what will happen next. So what happens, again, family, good friends, they showed up. Like everyone left everything that they were doing, and they showed up.
Like what time was it roughly?
That was at around 9 going to 10. Yeah, they left everything and they were like, where are you? So they were my... like people who I held on to.
You would say pillars.
Yes, and they walked with me.
Were you in the house, or you just?
I was in the house. So you can imagine some guys were like, we're even willing to host you, we're willing to be with you. And that time, my wife, who we were dating at that time, so even her now calling other people and be like, hey, go check up on this guy. So people came through. Then after that, so I kept on asking myself, if I'm feeling this way, how many other dudes
out there
are in the same pit hole, but they can't get out of it.
And they're not speaking.
Because from them, atenda salon, apige story.
Katika hii harakati aongea.
Ameongea. Okay? Charlie, please utampata kinyozi akifika analala.
Unajua kunyolewa pia ni hiyo massage na kwa
So ongei amedoze tu. Tukija garage hapa hivi tunafanya nini? Tunaongea juu ya bikes. So you're really not connecting with whatever is happening. No one knows what's happening in your life. Okay? Because you're not authentic, you're just talking out of different things. So it challenged me. So I asked myself, so later years, my wife, I think we were heading out we were going to see her folks. Then she asked me, so what's your plan? Okay? So I told her, man, there's this thing that is in my heart that I really want to start, but I don't know how. She was like, let's put a date on it. Okay, let's put a date on it. Now you start planning. So we called a few people, created a committee to plan this thing, and that's how Men Let's Talk was born.
Let me cut you short kidogo. So the first time ni ile someone organized the ride mkaenda, wanaume wakaongea.
Then hakuna ride ingine iliorganiziwa tena after.
Hakuna ride ingine. That's the same when you met your dad.
The same day.
The same day.
Is when I went.
Like now you wanted to be around people.
Yes. No. So realization. But these things were happening, but I never knew. Okay. Because I'd find myself just wanting to be around guys, or I don't want to be around anyone where I lock myself in the house. Total darkness. Utaki kitu yote na taa nini. As in life just stopped. Kuna time unataka uko huku, kuna time uko huku low kabisa. So you see, I only understood these patterns when this conversation was had. Because siko najua hizi ni nini. Okay? Unasema tu leo na feel ni kama sitaki kutoka hata nje. Unaget ama kuna time una feel tu uko nje umeenda.
Ni feelings but hujui kuziexplain.
Hujui explain because no one has taken time to tell you or to make you understand this is actually what you're going through. Okay? No one has taken time to tell you, hey, by the way you're feeling like you have suicidal thoughts, this is actually what's going on. Okay? So you don't understand.
It's not an easy thing to say, to tell yourself.
It's not easy because sometimes it's like a norm. You know, when you've done something for years or some time, it's normal. Leo na feel tu sitaki kutoka. Ama una feel leo unaanza kutafuta wase. Okay? So many of us don't take time to assess and ask ourselves where am I? Okay? These thoughts that I'm having. In fact, there's someone, I did a conversation a few weeks ago, and someone was saying, in fact, there's a therapist who was saying, this is actually normal because even there's a name he gave it where those thoughts will be there. But now if they're so regular, okay, then there's a place you're heading where you see a track and you're like, sinaweza ingia tu chini track. Okay? So you're ready in that nini.
Umeshaziunda.
But many of us don't do that, or we don't know. So we find ourselves in spaces where when we make it normal, we're like, hey, kuna time tu na feel gitu niko low. In fact, it's like unaona venye watu wana celebrate insomnia when you can't sleep. Okay? How many people say unakogomona mtu amepost anasema nini. Those are patterns.
So anaendelea tu hivyo miaka mingi anajua tu mimi silalangi usiku.
Yes. Mpaka amejilabel mimi sinaga usingizi.
Mimi si mtu wa kulala usiku.
So there are patterns. Okay? But we don't take note of because no one who has taken time to explain to you. Okay? So this thing has become it was new for us until it hit differently. Okay? So in that season is when now and over the years I've met so many men
by the way
who have been in such spaces. Okay? Who have been in such spaces. I have known people who have committed suicide.
Like you tried talking to them.
You didn't know. Then you hear.
And how old is Men Let's Talk now?
It's about, we started it during COVID because COVID is when it hit kabisa.
Watu wakaanza kuji.
Because now that was a season, was defining seasons for many dudes because you remember if people lost their jobs, people could not ride the normal times.
Now they can't pay rent,
yes,
pay bills.
Ease of resort. So now things that were bottling in now are coming out.
Nabid.
Okay? And then if you just do research, like there's an Nini I was reading, and they were saying, it was done by WHO, they were saying like about 40 or 45% of the inpatient of our medical cover actually takes care of people with mental issues.
The cover of inpatient?
Outpatient.
Watu wanaendea tu antidepressants.
As in either wanakuwa diagnosed nini, it's that crazy.
45%.
45%. That's a big number. I read someone was saying again, out of 8,
and it's not about gender.
No.
Both male
So
and
now they say out of 10, 8 are struggling. Okay? But a bigger percentage out of that 8 is men.
The two are making it.
Yes. The bigger percentage of you wase wananini is men. We get, because there's a season where we lost like 3/4 of the people who died from suicide. Was the highest number was men.
Men keep quiet a lot, eh?
Because of that, so you don't know how to share. Like even if I come and ask you how are you, utaniambia niko fiti.
Good.
Niko poa, mimi niko sawa. But reality is hata kama uko poa ziniambia uko poa. Ni mara ngapi umwambia msee umemuuliza akakwambia siko fiti.
Hiyo ni kweli.
Siko fiti, akakuja tu akwambia siko fiti. Afu na pia ukiomba uko msee akikwambia yuko fiti, uko ready kumsikiza.
Wewe pia uko na mambo zako.
Uko like hii ndinaje? Sha.
You understand?
You understand? Okay. So
now
now we decided to create that forum where dudes would just come. And I remember the first one we did was we just brought men together. Okay? We talked about this the suicide rates, talked about being open but also wellness. Checking ourselves because when stress ikiingia, you discover you're sick. The next thing you're like, why am I even here?
Chap.
Okay, life stops making sense for you. You're like, then wacha tu nijizime. That's what people do.
I've noticed men jump to that conclusion faster.
Fast, because
more than even wanting to talk to him.
Because from culture, when I make fun of this, I remember telling someone the first time nilisikia mzee wangu akilia, niliona kilia, ni mazishi ya madhake. Na nilikuwa nalia kisiri. Okay, so how in
the first time wewe uliona
niliona mzee wangu akilia niko mazishi ya madhake
na alikuwa anaifanya
loki
isionekane.
Una imagine une mzee yako Indio culture najua, so mimi nikiona hivyo wama naenda kuonyesha nani ati kama hata niko in pain
na buda yako
ama nateseka ama hiyo ni normal. Traditionally that's normal. Mwanaume hafai kulia. In fact the last one I did ilikuwa ni October, ilikuwa ni May. So tulikuwa na nani Burhale. He said something very interesting. He was like, you see when a kid falls, a girl, everyone is like mami, everyone is there. Boy akianguka unasikia acheni kumwangalia talia.
Wewe si mwanaume alia.
So msimwangalie. So what we are creating is we're saying we're creating strong men, but on the inside we're creating weak men.
Isn't that what masculinity is all about, to be honest?
We see, but we've defined it wrongly then, because I think the idea is, it's not that what you're saying is just being attached to saying, by the way, I'm not okay. Recognizing the part where you're not okay.
Or as you grow up, it instills in your brain knowing that a man is not supposed to be doing this.
Yes. I'm not saying you go carry flowers, kila mahali.
Yeah.
Okay? But what I'm saying is, do you get to understand how you're doing mentally? Do you take care of yourself? Na kutake care of yourself si kwenda tu kinyozi.
But then that's the only way men take care of themselves.
It's not just going to kwa kinyozi.
Kupigwa kikat.
To nini hapana. Like what's something you do for bikers is, and the reason why I got into the biking community is that's where I am already.
And the reasons were different.
No. But now even with the men let's talk, the reason why I do it with the bikers is because I know so many men who bought their bikes thinking they will die easily.
Really?
Yes.
Actually, me, I thought you're the only one.
No.
I've never, personally, hey, people buy their bikes
with
some other imaginations.
No, it's because there are people who bought them for the thrill. What is thrill? What is that thrill? What are you trying to satisfy?
Some other people ego.
But you get,
it brings them joy.
You see, that's the thing. Where you were thinking, it's that people bought them for different reasons. Okay? But if you check even how we ride and everything.
Are you telling me the bikers who've opened up to you and told you that, yeah, I bought my bike for this reason?
Yes. There are some who've said, like, even the number of times they've been in the helmet and they've thought of getting into a chine trailer, ni wengi sana.
Ama go wide.
Ama,
fixation.
Ni wengi. Get? So it's with us. It's just that maybe to make it in a different way, but iko.
Hiyo mimi sijaijua to be honest.
Wewe ulinunua for labda ikai nini, but ukiangalia, and especially during COVID, okay, the number of things, and I used to have conversations, I'm like, wow, I didn't know.
But now,
And then have you, let me, I know you've had this, how many people say they ride for their mental health?
I've seen that, but it has never crossed my mind. Actually, it's until when I knew you, I was like, hey, okay, there's this thing and there's a biker who's actually doing it.
And you'll hear it, people say, I ride for my mental well-being. Okay? When I'm depressed is when I ride. Na kiwa depressed anafinya kufinya. Sasa nimeshika.
Na unashangaa well-being inaingilia.
So mimi nakuaga like hata usiride basi.
It don't make sense.
Don't ride. Go park the bike. Find something else as an outlet. Because many of us, the bike is the only outlet we have. Okay?
But what happens after they ride for their mental health and come back home? Do they feel any better?
Some say they feel better, but again, what you're doing is endangering yourself.
So if you survive,
because if you survive, we thank God. Okay? Some might not.
That's risky. Now, wewe, after you were talking, after bikers were, some opened up, of course, because you're doing this Men Let's Talk. Is there, now are you able to tell that this biker is going through something without you kukwambia? Because, you know, for example, if I decide to do like crazy speeds, you cannot tell I'm going through something.
True,
right?
but now for me it's more of relational.
Oh, lazima ujue msee.
So me, I'm more relational with people. Okay? We talk, I check up, we ninaendelea. Get, because not everyone will open up if you don't have a relationship with them. Okay? So one of the things I've learned is that is very key, is being relational. And always just telling someone, if you are ever going through something, I'm actually available to hear you out.
You can't just start talking to a random stranger.
And if it's beyond me, the beauty is having people who, like, I know who, the biker friends who are therapists, counselors, who have come and said, Odek, anytime you know someone who it's beyond you, we're willing to do it pro bono, to work with them.
You're not a counselor, are you?
No, me, my job is to love people and take care of people.
For free, love is free.
Love is free.
So yours is mostly from experience, like you went through this and
Yes,
it was like...
so I'm using I don't want someone else to go through the same painful experience and they don't find help.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm being the link between you and the help you need. Okay.
So you're not doing it to give you the satisfaction. Like, let me put it this way. Unaona vile kuna msana anaweza kuwa na go through something, alafu ana feel like nikisaidia mtu mwingine mwenye ana go through the same thing, inanisaidia pia mimi.
No, but that I believe that's my calling in terms of this is what God has made me
In the long run.
In the long run, just to be there, care for men, and take care of men, because that's a space we have neglected for a while.
What if a woman comes to you?
Yeah, kuna watu wataongelesha, but I'm more keen.
Like utampeleka kwa watu?
Nampeleka kwa mtu, but I'm more keen on dudes. Okay, because I have realized, like I always ask this question, think about it. Ladies have been taken care of for years, but we neglected the boy child.
Not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way. Okay, and I say it because when was the last time you had a boys' school opened?
A boys' school, boys only school.
Umesikia madem ngapi? Ukiangalia ziko.
Even a university was launched some time back.
So now, what we are doing is we concentrated more on the girl child and forgot about the boy child. Okay, and so the boy child is suffering in silence, and we don't know how, because that's why nowadays we hear even ladies saying they're not meant to marry. Why?
Yeah. They're saying that?
Yeah, they're not meant to marry. Why?
They're not searching?
The dudes are like, it's okay.
They don't care anymore. Why?
So we took a space crazy, and that's why. So I'll find biker ladies who are saying I'm going through stuff, which I will also, again, I listen and then move if they need help with the counselor. But where I feel more passionate about is men. That's why I do men's events. But also the realization that if the ladies can support the
Can
men,
support the initiative.
even the men themselves, then we will, what we're doing is actually building, okay? Because see it ni war between ladies, ama nini, no, unaget ni, if we're able to come together, then we'll have a more stable, because these ladies have brothers.
The harsh reality.
They have brothers, okay, who are going through it. They have husbands, okay. So if we are able to come together, and interestingly, and I've seen it, I've seen ladies coming out and saying, how do we help the men around us? Yes.
They've started seeing there's something missing.
And the events that have been organized by Ladies for Men.
Same thing like about mental health.
Yes. They're like, we don't know what to do. Okay? So we are creating this space just for them to talk.
And women are there.
Some are there, some will, because also you can't just separate men and say let's talk as men. Maybe that's my nini. Because at the end of the day, kama umemari utarudi kuongea na bibi yako. If she doesn't know how to handle you,
na yeye ndio mwandani wako,
mtakuwa tu na war. Ni zero.
What about
so there are
this?
forums you create where women will they're not coming to talk and say this is how, they're coming to learn and understand.
I believe every year during COVID we used to have this, during Valentine, there used to be this men's conference and they were not allowing women inside. I think there was one even Borale attended, if I'm not wrong. And there were no women.
Yes, so kuna hizo. But
Why?
again, because wanaume wanasema want to talk by ourselves, want to talk alone, but hiyo ndio mi challenge yangu ni at the end of the day utatoka hiyo conference, umetoka mahali kivyako, but unarudi kwa wife yako, unarudi kwa sister yako, unarudi kwa madhe. If they don't understand
nini unapitia,
what you're going through, they will just treat you the same way. In fact, tunachekaga na mzae juu nasemaga, not even my dad, my mom made me realize this when she said, when was the last time ulisikia baba ya nyumba akiulizwa nini anataka kukula? Because no one cares.
Food inakuwa
Hey,
but what if he has
ile kitu amepata yanakula.
Kwa nini ana rights?
Because most times ana expect mtu anamake a decision.
Ana expect mtu amake a decision.
Eh. So wife amake a decision, unakumbuka kile kijana mamake alikuwa na make a decision. So amefika amemari. Nani anampanga?
Wife.
Unaget, so yeye anapata kitu ile iko, ameprovide do nini ile kitu iko anakula.
But is in that family setup.
But who said we can't talk? Like have a conversation where even your wife can ask you, hey, what do you want to eat?
Now are you making it feel like if a man ever decides leo najisikia na ugali, atapewa, ataambiwa?
No, nasema most times because even the ladies don't know, wanaenda tu na venye vitu zina trend.
They don't know what they want to eat.
Watapikile kitu go off the head, because come on, let me use my wife as an example. She will cook what is there. Okay? But if I communicate and tell her, hey, today naweza kula ama aniulize na ni communicate, that's different. But most times we don't communicate. Okay? Unaget, most times because we like keeping things inside. That's our nature. Then siku moja unashindwa hata ilianza wapi.
So it's our nature, like you said.
Ni us, traditions where we've grown up from, we've learned from what we've seen, the environment, what we've seen.
So I feel like we need to break that culture.
Yeah, we need to, because inatu affect, tumona dangers za we're losing men, as in it's like every day someone has, it's like every day.
Na experience yako ya men, let's talk before I ask you when it launched and how it's run, you understand better. Like, do you ever get positive feedbacks after that? Am still?
Yeah.
Especially with you plan rides as well.
So I get very interesting feedbacks. In fact, guys just saying you should do this more often.
After the nini?
Yes, they're like, I never knew something like this actually existed. Okay, because most times where we meet is tuenda kukunywa, as in sherehe, hizo vitu zote, but we don't talk about like what is in our heart, what's really going on. Okay, so when they find a space like that, the last one we did, a biker hosted us. We went, tukachoma mbuzi, as in the conversations were crazy.
Though like the last man, let's talk
Yes,
ride.
yes. The conversations were crazy and amazing at the same time. Where we had counselors in, which I enjoyed. I was like,
What's normally the outcome? Do a lot of people come?
so now it varies. People pick what they want. Okay? Kwanza mali unakuja kujianika unaenda kuja kusema mangori zako. You'll only open up if you know how painful it is. Okay? But most times when you think you're okay, you don't see the need. Okay? So, but me, I've loved, in fact, I always tell guys, me, I love the small community in terms of not so big. Okay? Because when it's so big, we don't connect. But when it's small, the conversations are more rich, and we get to share deeply. Like the one we did, we were like 15 dudes. Okay? And it was...
Mkaenda mkakula nyama.
Tulienda kwa msee, alituhost, biker, and the stories were amazing. Unaget? Ukifika mpaka mali mnaambiana kuna watu wataki kutoka. Waendelee tu kuongea story. Okay? So feedback has been great in terms of let's do more. Let's do more. Because the need is there. Reality is the need is there.
Hey. Okay, that's really...
So need iko kubwa sana, and even within just our community, because these guys are fathers, these guys are husbands, they're brothers. It's there. Okay. In fact, I find sometimes even a sister would tell him and be like, please talk to my bro. This is my bro's number. Look for him.
Kwa hivi na hivi.
We talk, nini, okay? And you like, okay, how do you want me to come along? The beauty is even what I do in terms of being a pastor sometimes allows me to, like, I find people, men who can't even provide for their families. Okay? So we raise money to even do a shopping for them. Okay? Which has been amazing to see.
Like the church comes together and they...
Not even the church. Just go, now, again, the connections I have, the people I have.
Una mobilize.
Mobilize tu watu nisema say kuna msee ananidi hii. How can we help? People, like, there's a season where a man would call you and be like, me, I'm at the end. I can't pay rent for my family. Okay? I have a kid who's like 6 months.
We.
Okay. How? Then you're like, okay, so what do we... And you reach out to a few guys and they're like, what can we do? Let's do that for that man. Let's support him.
As in, it's happening low-key, eh?
Low-key, by the way, it's and I like it because it's not kitu tunanika huko nje. Okay? Because as in the number mpaka wife yangu alikuwa anachekaga John, the number of calls I used to get and be like, someone is sending me a text and like, I just need
near house.
I just need help for this. Or my wife has walked away, has left me with a 3-month-old kid.
Hey.
Get.
That's
I've
insane.
lost my job. I've a bike, I got into an accident. Okay? I got into an accident, I can't work. Have rent.
Amekwama.
In fact, the community has grown into a point. Sometimes we see, like the other one, we met a guy who desires to be a biker. So he went and got like a small bike, but he didn't have gear. Okay? So when people saw that and heard it, were like, let's support this guy. Helmet, nini, Evo.
Mkambaia. Wow.
So, and that is fulfilling for me. When I see we can support other men. We can be there for, not as a competition. For ule msee ako na bike. No, we come together.
Have you ever met guys when they're trying to scam you?
So if you can easily tell. Okay? So how my nini is, I don't come where you are. Okay? I tell you, let's meet here. If you really need help, you will show up.
You know, they're pathological liars.
No, when we sit down like this and I assess, I can tell again, nile tu instinct ile nini, zile za huyu anani-enjoy.
Without a doubt that you're wrong.
Yes. Kuna ule tu utaka hivi utasikia huyu anani-enjoy. Okay? And I think also just because living the little grey Iceland, unajua.
Unajua hizo tricks.
Unajua hizo tricks. So by the time unakam na kusikiza hivi nisema wewe unanipima, but kuna zile utasikia ni genuine. Okay? And also just sometimes even attaching you to someone and say please go to this guy's house. See where he lives.
Uone kama ni.
Maget atuachi tu hapo umekaa mtu nakwambia zote ni unaishi wapi? Nini hizo vitu zote.
This is the type of career that looks like the type of a thing that looks like needs a discerning wisdom.
Tuseme hivyo. So and if you can't you share with people, like I have a few people like I'll share and be like nilipata hii story ni mnaionaje. Okay, then from there we discuss wisdom, unaona kaje. Then that's why we'll push even be like there's a guy who was saying he wants to start a business. And I kid you not, the people who I met were from very different groups. So I told them that, they were like, okay, where does this guy live? One guy says, in fact, then he's my neighbor, I can visit him. I can go see. So he went and find akona ukweli in your situation.
You know, one of the ways you process.
Because now if you have let's say we are along this road, okay, and I know someone, so you come to me and tell me you're going through something. I know people here. We're in the same community. Because in the biking community ni ndogo.
But they mtu anakujuanga.
Ni ndogo.
Unapost tu bike ya mtu.
Bas, if I mention your name you'll be like, "Well, najua mse." Hata mimi alikuwa ameniambia hivi, "Oda get." The biking community, there's always someone who knows someone. So imagine hata kwa tu nimpigie nani hata niambia wewe achana ama wewe uko serious.
Anakusumbua. But have you ever been in a situation whereby someone comes to you, gives you a story and it appears to be so true? Alafu unamjenga mado, unaona mpiga sherehe mbaya.
So one of the things we agreed is we don't give money.
You take it straight to the bills.
Bills, so we tell you, kwanza one of the things we like natafuta namba ya landlord kama ni rent.
Ujitafutie akikupea namba ya
landlord. Atanipatia landlord. Na tutafanya due diligence. Unaget? Uwezi ni tu hivi. Or if you say it's food, your food wewe ukitaka tunakupatia food. Ukitaka ndo venye utafanya. As long as we reached out, we did what you needed, like the need. Okay? Tutakufanyia shopping.
Na mnampelekea.
Tutakupatia ndio hiyo. That's what I'm saying. There are guys who the moment unaomba tutakufanyia shopping, okay, anza tu wewe nipatie hiyo pesa. Najua wewe hii ni red flag. Because ulikam na need ya food.
Ama mlipetu hiyo dori kwa.
Bas, ulikam na need ya food.
Sasa hata mumpe food ama wata.
Sasa utampe tu basi uko serious.
But do you give the food and you shall buy ama?
Tutapata mtu. There's always someone who is in need.
No, I'm saying, huyo msee amekuja. Mkamwambia sawa tutakupea food. Julisema food. And then he says no, just give me the money. What do you do? Do you cancel everything ama you proceed and give the person the food?
No, we find, because you see there's always like you have different people. So if you're trying to scam or play us, we will know. So what we'll just do is say, okay, we'll find someone else because food data expire, bro. Hatujanua nyama. Tumena vitu za kusikipu nini.
Even the 6 months.
And there's always someone who needs food. There's always someone.
Man, hiyo inakaa very challenging.
So ni kunini to God anakupatia wisdom, unaangalia na pia ukishasikia tu mtu amekwambia eti alikuja na need ya hii, afu unamwambia nataka kumit landlord wako, ameanza kukuzungusha nini, unajua tu wewe ni enjoy. Wewe si story ya nini. So that's how, and God amekuwa faithful because hatujapata msee in my time doing this, sijapata msee amekuja kuni
some weird fellows.
Sijapata weird fellows. But also again, I think kwa pasi inanisaidia because the things ndakunini hivi moja mbili because usikumitigi tu place random. Nakwambia hata kuja church. Sasa hivi ndo Mungu. Wamekam church because so the people, me, if you're genuine for me, if you umesema umetoka Thika Road, unasema uko kwa shida, nikwambia let's meet just for me to talk to you. And you show up. I'm like, you really need the help. You will find a way of but wanza kunizungusha niambie hebu nitumie fare nini niko like bro wewe unanipima. Okay? Ama afadhali uniambie siwezi toka come home. Okay?
Yeah, wewe ukuje.
Ndakuja. Okay? But it's wacha tu sema ni wisdom ya God man. Juu saa zingine kudili na wase ni ngumu. Kudili na wase ni ngumu.
Na church yako sasa inakuwa wapi?
Ngong Road, niko church inaitwa Good Shepherd hapo Ngong Road. youth pastor, so hapo ndio mkuu.
Hapo that's why you preach. Now, you tell me about the plan. The men let's talk. It's just called men let's talk. It's not limited to bikers.
Yes, it's not limited.
But how many rides do you plan a year?
So I do. So we always have like four rides, which are major events. So we look at seasons when we are talking about the different things, mental health. So like May is usually a big month for us.
May. Why May?
May because it's mental health month, especially for men. Okay, awareness. So there's
it's
a
not
ride.
November.
So May is actually a men's month.
Men's mental health.
Men's mental health month. So that's when we do DGR, Distinguished Gentleman's Ride.
Yeah, that's the one actually. I was trying to find that name.
Yes. So we do it because it's worldwide.
Oh.
That's done.
And it's not just for bikers.
It's for bikers.
Or the gentleman's ride.
Yes. So it's done worldwide. Kenya, Uganda, even done everywhere. So where people just wear suits, and show up with your bike.
No gears.
Depending watu wengine. The European way ni kuenda bila gear because they have the vintage bikes
Watu wanaheshimu barabara. Huku unajua tu.
So huku gear, so it's riding safe. But we try to do that once a month. What the month of your month, May. Then DGR. Then we have and then the major event in November. Another major event because November is prostate cancer awareness month. Prostate is for men. Okay, so we're just creating that, but also in the years they've moved it from not just prostate but mental health and also general like health-wise, taking care of your health. And so we pick that as well. Then in between now we do small events just to gather people. We meet is of to sort.
Na ikwangi challenging. Let's talk about the DGR.
Challenging aje?
No, like so DGR, how do you plan it? You organize a ride, you go somewhere.
So we always have rides different places. So last year we did it within Nairobi. This year, sorry. We did it within Nairobi where we just went around Nairobi creating awareness, then end up having...
No stopovers, like you're just riding.
So there are places very in CBD where we take photos.
Like do you stop talking to people?
No, because we're going to a place to have a conversation. Okay? So then this year we had the opportunity to gather somewhere, had a speaker of a breakfast, and everyone was just able to kuongea nini. The November one is usually mpaka watu wanaenda kuangaliwa like their health wise, unapimwa BMIs nini, just to know how you are.
Like you liaise with hospitals?
Yes. Okay. So they check you, then prostate tutukaizo. So there are like easier ways of kuangalia prostate because kitambo kulikuwa inaangaliwa different. So now you just unadungwa tu damu inatolewa.
So squeeze
sasa tu ni damu.
Yeah, inakaa weird.
So damu, and then now they tell if now they need to do more tests. Okay?
To determine.
But that's how it works. Okay? How we plan them for them is look at the month, then we have a few people who we come together, okay, friends who we all bikers and passionate about biking and passionate about men. We agree and say, okay, so this is what we are doing. So someone will come up with the route, someone will come up with izo vitu zote. So different people take up different roles. Then we.
So this is something you do even without a bike now?
Yeah. I still do. Like the one I did where we went to Kiseni and I didn't have a bike, but someone came and was like, you can't go without a bike. So they brought me a bike.
I'm just trying to relate to this fact that you bought a bike to unalive yourself, and then now you're doing the bike to try to save people from unaliving themselves.
That's how life is. You
never know. So maybe, it's like the story of, in the Bible when God tells you to go this way and then
you obey. So that's where I am, because yes, whatever I thought would be the end of me has actually become something I'm using to help others.
It has opened. It has opened something, another chapter.
Which is now what I'm doing with men and everything.
Which is a good thing, by the way. So for the guys who want to join the DGR and they don't have a bike,
they're free to come because it's for men.
How now then?
So anytime we have events, we have the we tell the guys, us will ride as bikers, but you can meet, this is the venue.
Oh,
okay? Where you can end up here, okay? So we ride, but you can come here. Then we just
the destination will be here.
is here. So we've seen guys coming in, like the one we did at Inch Cape. Guys showed up who are not riding.
Yeah, I remember by the
guys showed up.
Suits.
Guys came and were like, okay, this is good. There's one we did in Lokabete, because I tried working also with Nyumba Kumis. Okay, just to like do regions. Like now, even what I'm thinking in the next one would be maybe Thika Road. We'll do it somewhere around Thika Road. Okay. The other one will be, because I've done with Kiseri and Ngong, Kiseri and Nyumba Kumi. So just that.
So the next one here in case. It has never gotten to a point where I feel like this thing is just too much.
So that's why this season I'm taking a break. Because you know there are times you move, and maybe I looked at it and I was like, maybe I need to restructure, take time, restructure, so that it's not something I'm just doing, going, but it's also causing impact around people. Because sometimes you can do things just for you want to do. Okay.
And so the motivation is what exactly?
Motivation. Me, I just want to see men living a healthy life and being okay.
That's all.
That's all.
So hakuna pali seme in case someone is watching and wants to rushia you something because amebambika na feel like
anaweza nitafuta pay bill ziko kila kitu, tuko na pay bill, tuko na accounts.
Sema hizo pay bills zitaziandika hapa hivi kwa screen.
Check ndaika hapa hivi napatia. Sije manze akili yangu but it's there. We have a pay bill, we have an account just for people, and I'm always pushing people if you feel like you want to give towards it. Because my best story is usually there's a rehabilitation center for men. Okay?
Only men?
Only men.
What is it called?
It's called Teen Challenge. So it's not for teens. It's for older men.
This one is where?
It's on Kiambu Road. So the last time I went there, was it last year or this year? I've been there, I think this year as well. The oldest guy there is about 60.
No teenager.
That it starts from 18, 19.
He's the oldest teenager there.
Yes. So, but it's not for teens though. So now, I took a group there last year, and we just went, and the guys were like, there's something like this for men, because no one ever thought.
You went there as a CSR or what?
We went there. So we went with a hospital, so they're doing the checkups, we went with bikers, just for them to see, like, this place actually exists. And the stories, because guys, so there's addiction, different things. Okay, guys have gone through addiction, they started well, life took them on a different, as in they have stories for days. And so that usually is my highlight, just seeing those guys come out of there, okay? And they look for me and they're like, nah, I'm okay.
Serious?
Yes. Okay.
After
wametoka. Some of them we connect and they're like, niko sawa. Okay. So I keep on, that's a place I always say, like, I have to go. I go with bikers, I go with different people, just for them to see, okay? And also encourage those men who are there. So there's a time we raised money and we are able to, those guys were able to be tested, because even they check your drug levels, like what percentage is it now, has it reduced, okay? So it was really good to see that.
How is drug addiction related to mental health?
Because you want something to, you see, it starts slowly. Okay, so because you're suppressing whatever you're going through, okay?
The
so
pain
the pain and everything. So you want to forget, you want to be high on something. So you're like, okay, I can take alcohol. So what do? Because you want to be high on the high. Okay, you end up, and then it's also shuke. Then slowly you're addicted, because most of those guys actually started like that, where it's because of a phase or the place they were in, or someone introduced them, and there was something they were trying to suppress every time. Okay, then it turns out now to be something that they have to take for them to move.
Dependence.
Yes. Then they end up losing their jobs, their families. It's crazy.
So these people are going through something.
Yes.
Sometimes when you see someone drinking daily, which is unusual.
Kuna siku nimeka kwa matatu, time nilikuwa napandaga matatu. Mingi hivi kwa mat. Mse fulani mzaya analia tu kwa gari.
Analia tu.
Analia, and everyone judges him. It's like, ati mzee pia analiaje. But the things this guy was saying, I was like, there's something off. And you see, that's a guy who maybe he's going through things, but because no one knows, because analiaje kwa gari.
Ati watu wanasema huyu mzee na analiaje.
Analiaje huyu. So everyone started making fun of him. Sometimes I wish I'd taken a point with that guy and even asked him, are you okay?
Now you get your point. You know, it takes one to understand.
Okay.
Before you just jump to conclusion.
Bas. So hiyo time, so siku hizi nanisumbuaga nasema guy hope mse bado yuko fiti. Because I missed an opportunity with that guy. I missed an opportunity with that guy because I was so concerned, like you're like sasa pia ndaanza kuongea naye aje.
It's strange, okay, like you had mentioned. Like huwezi anza tu kupigia mtu story hapo tu na.
But yeah, so I have seen transformation. I've seen things happen. I've seen life change, people changing. I've seen support being made around. There's a time we did trauma and healing session with bikers. We just gathered, brought in counselors, therapists to just talk to bikers, and people opened up. Something that was supposed to be 2 hours ended up going for 4 hours.
Kashika pa. Guys want to...
Yes, so guys are looking for those opportunities to open up.
Now, someone who's depressed alafu gets into drugs. And then this person umongeleshe. Alafu I feel like depression imeenda. Alafu sasa shida ni moja. Haizi wacha drugs. Because mwili ishazoea. How do you handle that?
Huo tu sini anapelekwa rehab kwanza. Because you see, there's one thing you never, how do I say this? You never live completely. Okay?
You never live completely.
Like, itaisha abrupt TV. It's a journey. Okay? Same way as addiction. Okay? So one of the things is the person has to want to be helped. Because you can't force anyone to be helped. You can't force them to get help. That's all that need for addiction. So if they say they want to be helped, then point them one to a professional who's able to handle it. Okay? And if they agree, you even take them to a rehab center. Because they get the help. It changes their mindset and perspective about everything. Yeah.
But I heard there's some people, the body is so used to these drugs to a point they can't live without. Even the doctors are advising you take a certain dose. Hey, what is it called? Withdrawals.
So that's why see the place I'm telling you, the Teen Challenge. I like it because I've seen the transformation stories without it is lazima you're dependent on them. I have seen. Like there's a guy who I'm telling you was given a helmet. He's one of the stories from there. Okay? And he, you know, that transformation that happened to me, in fact now what he does is goes to help boys not to go back to
drugs.
Yes.
Hey.
Okay. So I'm always like God works, he does his thing. So as much as is in his ote, pia anajua. Okay. So if that's what I've said, if you want help, okay, you will get the help. If you don't want, or if you want it because someone has insisted, you'll never move away from it.
So you're just doing it to please them.
Yes.
That's
in fact,
also
that
a
please,
challenge.
how funny they do it is, if someone brings you and says, tunataka huyo aingie kwa hii rehab, they tell you, see, I'm make decisions.
Or rehabilitation, they do that.
So you nakwambia.
They want you to make that decision.
Yeah, so they tell you, go, when you're ready, the doors will be open.
Actually, I know of that scenario because there's some people who, wale wenye wanapelekwanga na fujo, like wanaikewa mchele walale wa mke wajipate rehab.
They end up
relapsing
like
and
going
when they
back.
come out,
They go back.
resume.
Yes, they go back. And there's a story of this guy who, he was brought the first time and he refused. He was like, Mr. Kuapa hivi. And guys were like, yeah, go, at least you know the place. Okay? So when you're ready, you come back. You'll come back. He went, nini aga nini, siku moja alijipata tu hapo.
Serious.
Akuja akasema mimi nataka kuchange.
Na wale wenye wanadragiwanga ndio wapeleke huko there chaotic.
You see, you're not helping because what you're doing is force. Okay? You're not dealing with the issue.
In fact, does it make the depression worse because now you're putting that person in a
Because
place where he
not,
does not want to be.
You've not dealt with the issue. What you're trying to do is fix the person. And you've not addressed
you don't know the issue.
Yes, you need to fix. Maybe the problem is not even that drug that he's using. Maybe there's something else
that's making him
get
use.
there. Yeah.
Hey. Sounds complicated.
Ni kazi, lakini grace ya God manze. But it's worthwhile. For me, it's worthwhile. I'm always saying, if I die today, what would I want to be remembered for? What legacy would I want to leave behind? Okay, and that's one of the things. Like Odek loved people in terms of men, took care of them. Okay, all those things.
Where? I always see you doing it, but I've never scared from like the horse's mouth, like, and how challenging or how big it might sound like. I'll be honest, me, but when I was growing up, I used to feel like mental health is a hoax. I used to feel like people are just acting depressed so that they can get away with something. of which it is true. There are who take advantage of that, yeah? So I used to feel like if you are depressed, you're just trying to find attention so that people can...
It's because it's been stigmatized. So as well, where you see, when you're thinking like that, you know, there's a time when ebu sikia hivi, ukikutana msee anacheka tao, what will be the first thing will go?
Ni mwenda wazimu.
Yeah. So what we think tulikuwa tunajua ni hiyo wazimu. Yet msee anaweza kuwa tu hayuko sawa.
Na si wazimu. Hayuko tu sawa.
Like hiyo ni outlet. So my challenge to guys is usually for every dude me I tell them, find something that is an outlet for you. Something that you enjoy doing without being forced. Okay? That helps you cope or get to a better place. Okay? So for people who say it's riding and they do it, because even me I know for sure, when I need to think process it's better for me to be on the bike. Na helmet, na ngoma hapo hivyo, I process things clearly. Okay? The gym works out for me. Okay? So I work hivyo. So someone needs to find what works for them.
Yeah, I get your point. But it's still, it takes a lot.
Yeah, you have to know and also understand what's going on with you yourself, because kuna vitu zinafanyikaga tu
as life goes on.
Yeah, as life goes on. But sisi tendency yetu ni funika.
Wanaume, that is.
Then siku moja ina explode. So musema kabla explode. Kuwa kwanza kuiarrest. Usingoje lipuke ndo koleka ya si ningeshikilia kitu. That's the danger.
Sasa nikuulize, wewe ukiwa, when you said you bought your bike because you wanted to end it mara moja, have you ever been ushainunua shamba?
Kuanguka? Nime drop bike sijaanguka.
Hujaanguka.
That's the interesting thing. So hii ni yote siko yanguka.
You know, that's the irony.
Yeah, as in siko yanguka. Even with the bike I just sold.
Never. Why? You a careful rider or?
But also now, I think as I grew older, and also understanding that I have kids who depend on me, and a family that I have to go back to. So nowadays I tell people I don't try to die. I try to get home.
Were you open when you bought the bike that you want to ride to die? Were you telling people?
No. So it's something ilikuwa chini ya maji, because wewe unajua kila mtu atakwambia uze pikipiki.
So ulikuwa unakaa mtu unacheka na wasee bikers vizuri.
Niko normal hata uwezi jua ndio kitu inaendelea. So but nowadays I remember nikiwa na the Hornet. Nimefinya Thika Road. Sauti tu ikakuja mtoto wangu, nikasikia sauti ya mtoto wangu. Nikareduce to speed. Msali kwa nyuma yangu akapata tu na mngoja hapo hivyo na maana uko sawa wewe twende tu. Na hiyo bike lilikuwa ni hizo 240 inafika hivi. I was like no, I don't need to die on this. So nowadays my nini is very simple. I ride to get home, not to die.
Commuting, stuff like that.
Yes, to get trip, but I know I have to go back home.
You have someone. Some people are waiting.
So the discipline imenini sahi.
So you're saying having a family pay inafanyanga mwanaume anaweza kuwa na focus.
Yeah, but just knowing that the people who love you, okay, who look forward to seeing you.
So you don't have to give them a hard time.
Yes. Okay. So that's encourages me, because I know my children are looking forward to seeing me at home.
So at was sport bike hawana family.
Siko sure. Inabidi tutauliza.
I'm just saying because
hao nafinya kufinya. Hiyo no
filters.
Hapo ndo mimi nasema hata yenyewe sport bike nipo tu nikinunua ndaka kwa frame. Nikage tu nasema I own one.
Uendesha kidogo alafu
naifunika tunaiongelea tu
collection. But point kama we enjoy.
Me seeing it. Iko tu hapo.
Like ni yako.
Yeah, I see it.
Registration nasema ni yako.
Ni yangu. Bana ndio hivi.
Hiyo unasikia sauti ya mtoi.
Najita meeting, najita mkutano na helmet.
Unaingia hiyo farmers lane
najiambia tu ni sawa. It's okay, si lazima.
Haina haja.
Si lazima.
Hiyo ni fiti man. It's so good to have you.
Thank you for having me, man.
Story mingi sana zenye mimi hata siamini. But though my perspective changed kitambo sana nikianza kugrow sasa nikaanza kuona senyewe. By the way, you know there's some people who think mental health ni mwenda wazimu. You know, like when you go to Mathare Mental, for instance, guys who are there, they are labeled madmen. But pia wanakapitia tu.
Yeah, but sasa unaweza kana msee anacheka na wewe lakini ana go through stuff. Ako kwa hiyo space.
Kucheka inamaanisha uko sawa.
Kucheka mtu kwanza mimi nasema kwanza sawa wa hyper wachunge sana. Hao ndio unafaa unaangalia.
Wao wenye wako na they are masking something. There's a guy who said some time back that he do not trust the
hyper.
See a smiling man or a laughing man.
Hao unakuaga ni hao ndo wanakuaga na kitu lakini wataki ujue wameshajua kumask. So akikuja hapa ako so happy. Anakupigisha story. So one of the techniques I use is I don't ask you how you doing, I ask you how you feeling.
By the way, hiyo inasaidia.
You'll have to be honest.
How you doing is good. It's always good. How you doing good.
Niko poa. So
good.
But nikikuza feeling unaanza kujiri attach na feelings zako.
Inaanza
like niko happy, niko sad.
So
so mtu anaanza kusema so mbona uko sad? So imefungua conversation.
By the way. Sasa kama msana anacheka unacheka why?
So unazuru how you feeling? Akiniambia ako happy, why you happy?
Leo bank kacheka.
But just understanding how to have these conversations and making them regular and not someone feeling as if they're being attacked or they're the weird one.
Nice. Any parting shot you have for the men out there waongeleshe wenye ni bikers na bikers waangalie kamera waambie kitu?
I think mine is really simple. You don't have to die alone. Let me say that. That there's a whole community of dudes and men. And if you don't have a community, find the nearest. Because out of the 10 friends you have 4 or 3 or 1 who actually cares. So always find that one person. But the other thing is also find something that gives you joy. And not something that gives you an identity, but something that gives you joy, that you can do without being forced. Because when you have that in mind and you're able to do these things, then you are happy with every part of you is happy. But again, remember we are here to support men and we are looking out for the boy child. So thank you, and you matter in this community and in this space. Yeah.
Asanteni sana guys. I know today we've not talked so much about bike, but he's a biker. He's been riding. Amechukua ka break kidogo, but he'll be back. He's still a rider, but he also focuses on men's mental health. So the reason why I called him here was part of this so that we can understand. Sometimes tuna deviate kidogo, si ndio? Yeah, so thank you so much guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you. Asante sana man.
Asante sana pia.